What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we are going to be showcasing an exotic weapon that went from seeing absolutely no play to now being one of the better PvE exotic weapons in the entire game. And it's doing this all thanks to a very recent buff. But quite frankly, guys, a lot of people are overlooking this buff. And I know that because I personally have been overlooking this buff. So what the heck is going on? Well, first of all, the exotic weapon in question is the Wish Ender exotic bow, coming from a massive quest involving the Forsaken expansion. So an OG weapon for sure. And let's take a look at this thing's perks. So intrinsically it has Queen's Wrath. While aiming down sights with a fully drawn bow, combatants behind walls are highlighted and arrows pierce shields, strong against barrier champions. Then we have a couple more unique perks here. The first one is anti-taken fletching, so it'll literally just do more damage against taken enemies. But then we also have the unique perk Broadhead. Piercing arrowhead that damages the target on entry and exit. One shot can overpenetrate multiple targets. So every other bow out there is just going to give you one damage number for shooting a combatant. The Wish Ender is gonna give you more. So here's where things get really interesting. We have to look at the brand new buff that it got with the sandbox update that hit Destiny 2 with the launch of Season of Plunder. So first of all, they added intrinsic anti-barrier. So you saw that when going over its perks, it is now going to be able to deal with barrier champions by itself. That is already very, very good, right? Some of the best PvE weapons in the game are that way because they can deal with champions. I mean, the Arbalest comes to mind immediately. But here's where things get really interesting. So they increase the number of hits versus most targets from 2 to 3, more hits against vehicles, still 2 against players. What the heck does this mean? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, when I first read this, I almost kind of thought it was a nerf. Like, increase the number of hits versus targets from 2 to 3. Oh, it's going to take more hits to take down a target. So it's going from a 2-shot kill to a 3-shot kill. That's actually not what's happening. So, as you can see right here, if I'm shooting these low-level red bar enemies, I only get 1 damage number because I only need 1 damage number to kill these guys. But then, once I start hitting these more powerful enemies like this Lost Sector boss here, as you can see, I get 3 numbers. So 3 hits with a single shot. In fact, I went back in time to double check with an old video where I took the Wish Ender through the Leviathan raid, and as you can see from this footage, when I shoot those yellow bar enemies, only 2 numbers pop up. So this is exactly the buff that line of text is referring to. Now you are getting, instead of 2 damage numbers popping up with Broadhead going entry and exit, there's now a 3rd damage number popping out. I guess it's exiting twice for whatever reason, but this is just going to significantly increase your damage output against pretty much every PvE enemy out there. But that's actually not where the buff ends, guys. In addition to literally adding another shot basically to your shot, you also now have increased damage versus champions, majors, and mini bosses by 10%, and the draw time has decreased from 828 milliseconds to 820. So let's just kind of put everything together. The Wish Ender in Season of Plunder now gets intrinsic anti-champion properties. It is getting another damage number just popping up whenever you're shooting, higher level PvE enemies. They need enough health to actually take the 3 shots. Oh, and on top of that, it's also just straight up doing 10% more damage against those powerful enemies. Oh, and its rate of fire has increased a little bit. That is insane. Like, they just straight up made this weapon significantly more powerful. And when you use it, it feels like that. I mean, you can see from the background gameplay, against more powerful targets, this thing chunks them. Like, yellow bars will take huge chunks of damage to their health when you're shooting them with your primary weapon. That's something that's so important to remember. You have infinite ammo with this weapon. You'll never have to worry about getting a brick. You'll never have to worry about putting on finders and scavengers and all that stuff. You will always be able to rely on this weapon. And so when it's outputting as much damage as it is right now, that is just insane. And not only that, we need to take some time to talk about that intrinsic anti-barrier. I mean, you can see in the background gameplay, I'm doing some activities where I have barrier champions I'm versing. I mean, in the solo loss sector, it's amazing. My primary weapon can now completely deal with this champion. Like, it does enough damage that I can easily just kill it with this bow, and if it puts up the barrier, I got it covered. Now, you may be saying, oh, why would you use this over the Arbalest? And good point, the Arbalest is absolutely cracked out of its mind. However, this kind of thinking is a mistake, and I see it so often when discussing Destiny 2 builds. People get tunnel vision over one powerful thing, not realizing all the other powerful things they're giving up by using it. So in that example, if you use the Arbalest, you're probably not going to use another special weapon unless you want to run out of ammo. So that means, yes, the Arbalest is powerful, but so is the Forbearance, so is the Salvager Salvo, so is a blinding grenade launcher, so is potentially a shotgun to utilize unstoppable shotgun rounds, right? And you aren't able to use both of those things because if you're using the Arbalest, your energy slot has to be a primary. So using the Wish Ender instead is going to open up that energy slot to all the incredibly powerful, special energy weapons out there. Again, my mind immediately goes to a grenade launcher for incredible ad clearing capabilities, right? Now, I'm definitely not saying that the Wish Ender is outright more powerful than the Arbalest, but I am saying that it adds an interesting tool to your arsenal that lets you switch up your loadout. And when we look at endgame PvE content, especially Grandmasters, you're going to need to do that. Like, you can't usually use the exact same build for every single Grandmaster. Depending on the burn, depending on the enemy shield types, you need to switch things up. So being able to use now just a primary weapon in that kinetic slot, open up that energy slot to way more options out there, all of that is very, very valuable. And I could really see myself using the Wish Ender in a Grandmaster. Like, I think it's totally viable in a Grandmaster, dealing with those enemy champions, hitting hard enough that you're going to be able to absolutely chunk the red bars. This thing might even be able to get a one-shot kill on red bars in a Grandmaster with that triple hitter, right? So that's absolutely incredible for a primary weapon. A lot of primaries fall off in Grandmasters because it takes the entire magazine to kill one single, acolyte. So this thing hitting as hard as it is could really, really matter. So, if you haven't tried out this thing since Season of Plunder dropped, 100% it is worth taking out of your vault, infusing, and trying it out. It hits like a truck. It has endgame viability, in my opinion. It is a really solid weapon, all because of this buff. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.